Hi, I'm Rochelle Travers, and this is the Standard's Tech and Science Daily podcast. Coming up, is this the end for classic British insults? Now, let's get into it. A report from the Birth Trauma Inquiry is calling for an overhaul of the UK's maternity and postnatal care, as well as for the creation of a new maternity commissioner who would report directly to the Prime Minister. The inquiry heard harrowing evidence from more than 1,300 women, where some revealed they were left in blood-soaked sheets and others said their children had suffered life-changing injuries due to medical negligence. NHS England Chief Executive Amanda Pritchard said the experiences outlined in the report are simply not good enough. The findings of the report will be presented to ministers today, and Health Secretary Victoria Atkins is expected to set out the government's response. It's estimated that 30,000 women a year in the UK have suffered negative experiences during the delivery of their babies, and 1 in 20 develop post-traumatic stress disorder. In other maternity news, scientists say babies born from C-section need 2 measles jabs for full protection.
If you're born through a vaginal delivery, at the moment of birth, you get this transmission of all this microbiome, all these friendly little bugs which are in your insides from the mother to the fetus. C-sections, you're basically circumventing that access, that ability to have all these friendly bacteria given to you.
That's Professor Henrik Salger from the University of Cambridge's Department of Genetics and joint senior author of the report.
And so because you don't have that, these young infants, these little babies aren't able to develop their immune system in the same way. And it seems to be this is very important when we then start vaccinating individuals, because these individuals aren't then able to successfully mount this immune response.
Salger and the team at Cambridge, along with researchers from Fudan University in China, found that a single dose of the measles jab is up to 2.6 times more likely to be completely ineffective in children born by C-section, compared to those born naturally.
Measles is a horrible disease to get and is deadly really. And so our concern here is not at all with the vaccine. The vaccine's excellent. What we want to do is be able to identify those people who get vaccinated, but actually this vaccine isn't working.
At least 95% of the population needs to be fully vaccinated to keep measles under control, but the UK is well below this, despite the measles, mumps and rubella vaccine being available through the NHS routine childhood immunisation programme. The results are published today in the journal Nature Microbiology. Next. That's the sound of 2 professional skydivers successfully completing the world's first wingsuit flight through London's Tower Bridge. Austrian Red Bull skydivers Marco Fürst and Marco Waltenspiel jumped from a helicopter at 3,000 feet high on Sunday morning, diving down to 35 metres above the River Thames. But as Mr. Waltenspiel explains, it wasn't completely straightforward.
We had like 20 knots on 3,000 feet from southeast, so headwind on the helicopter. And then we jumped out and we really felt like, we need to fly against the wind. So we were, in my opinion, a bit far out. So we had to really fly towards the bridge to make sure we have a steep enough angle to attack the bridge.
They soared through Tower Bridge and completed a complex manoeuvre known as a flare to rise up again to 80 metres, the height required to open their parachutes before landing safely.
Once we flew through the bridge, we felt like, the wind changed completely. So it came from the other side and pushed me a bit to the right. So I landed in the Thames, which was still okay and nice.
Now, we often hear about all the negative effects our ever-increasing digital world can have on us all. But a new study has found that internet use is potentially linked to higher well-being. International research from the Oxford Internet Institute analysed data from 2 million people aged 15 to 99 in 168 countries, including Latin America, Asia and Africa. They found that life satisfaction across all countries was 8.5% higher for those who had access to the internet, and their positive experiences were 8.3% higher. So I guess the internet's not all bad, eh? Let's go to the ads. Coming up, the importance of sources of sugar, and is this the end of classic British insults? Welcome back. Researchers found that the source of sugar, not just the amount, could impact weight in children. Academics from the University of Groningen and University Medical Centre Groningen in the Netherlands suggest children who consume most of their sugar from milk or fruit, rather than cakes or sweets, are less likely to go on to be overweight or obese. Researchers found that total sugar intake at age 3 was not related to weight gain, but higher intake of sugar from snacks like cakes or sweets led to a higher BMI score when the child was older. Wales has become the first UK nation to join the metaverse. Visit Wales has created an immersive experience hosted on the platform Spatial, with the aim of showcasing some of the country's experiences and attractions. Organisers say they believe Wales is also the first European nation to use this approach to market itself as a tourism destination. And finally, it might be time to say goodbye to classic British insults such as prat, numpty and plonker, because a survey suggests they're dying out. According to research carried out by the agency Perspectives Global, Gen Z don't use such classics anymore, and many don't even know what they mean. People under the age of 28 are instead opting for disparaging terms like Karen or basic instead. Some of the insults found to be at the highest risk of dying out are lummox, bampot, and ninny. You're up to date. Come back at 4 p.m. for the Standard podcast for all the latest news and analysis. Tech and Science Daily will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. See you then.